Imagine this. You come home after a long day. Your child runs toward you, full of energy, full of ideas. They start playing, talking, moving from one thing to the next. It's like their mind is constantly exploring. And for a moment, it's actually beautiful to watch. But then something small happens. You say it's time for dinner, or you turn off a toy, and everything shifts. Frustration rises quickly. Tears come suddenly. And within seconds, it feels like the situation is completely out of control. And maybe later, when things are quiet again, you find yourself wondering, is this just a strong-willed, energetic child? Or is there something deeper going on that I don't fully understand yet? Before we go any further, it's really important to say this. This video is not a diagnosis. Many of the behaviors we're going to talk about are completely normal in young children. Every child struggles with transitions sometimes. Every child gets overwhelmed. Every child has moments of impulsivity. But what neuroscience shows us is this. Sometimes there are consistent patterns in how a child's brain regulates attention, energy, and emotion. And when you begin to recognize those patterns early, something important changes. You stop reacting only to the behavior, and you start understanding the brain behind it. What ADHD actually is. ADHD is often misunderstood. It's not simply about having too much energy, and it's not about a child choosing not to listen. At its core, ADHD is about something much deeper. Self-regulation in the brain. That includes guiding attention, pausing before acting, managing emotional responses. These abilities are part of what scientists call executive functions, and they are largely supported by areas in the brain like the prefrontal cortex. The important thing to understand is this. In young children, these systems are still developing. So when we talk about early signs, we're not looking for problems. We're looking at how these systems are developing compared to what we would typically expect. What research shows. Researchers have followed children over many years to better understand how ADHD develops. And what they've found is fascinating. Certain differences often appear much earlier than expected, sometimes even in toddlerhood. Not as clear symptoms, but as patterns in everyday behavior. For example, differences in sleep patterns, differences in activity levels, and differences in how children respond to stimulation. These early patterns don't mean something is wrong, but they can act as early signals that a child's nervous system is working a little differently. Sign 1. Difficulty regulating activity. Let's start with one of the most visible patterns. Many children are active. That's completely normal. But some children have a much harder time regulating that activity. It's not just that they move a lot, it's that they seem unable to slow down. They keep going, even when they're clearly tired. They struggle to settle, even in calm situations. It can feel like their body is always on, almost like the internal system that helps them shift from high energy to calm isn't fully available yet. And this is important. This isn't about willpower. It's about how the brain is managing energy and control. Sign 2. Transitions are unusually hard. Another pattern often shows up during transitions. Moving from one activity to another is a challenge for many children. But for some, these moments are consistently overwhelming. Going from playtime to dinner, leaving the park, getting ready for bed. These situations can trigger strong resistance or emotional reactions that seem disproportionate. From a brain perspective, this reflects difficulty switching between mental states. The brain has trouble letting go of one focus and smoothly adjusting to the next. Sign 3. Attention is intense, but hard to guide. A common belief is children with ADHD can't focus. But that's not entirely accurate. Many children actually show very strong attention, just not in a flexible or controlled way. They may become deeply absorbed in something interesting, almost completely tuned in. But then, suddenly, their attention shifts. It's not that attention is missing, it's that directing it is difficult. The brain struggles to decide, what should I focus on now, and for how long? Sign 4. Strong, fast emotional reactions. This is one many parents recognize immediately. Emotions come quickly, and they come with intensity. Frustration builds fast. Disappointment feels overwhelming. And calming down can take time. And it's important to understand this correctly. This is not about a child being too dramatic. Research shows that emotional regulation is processed differently in children with ADHD, which means the experience of the emotion itself is often stronger and harder to manage. Sign 5. Differences in sleep. One of the most overlooked early patterns is sleep. Children who later receive an ADHD diagnosis are more likely to experience difficulty falling asleep, restless sleep, shorter sleep duration. And this creates a cycle. Because sleep is essential for regulating attention, emotion, and impulse control. A tired brain has far less capacity to stay balanced throughout the day. The big picture. Here is the most important takeaway. No single sign means anything on its own. What matters is the pattern. When several of these traits appear together and remain consistent over time, that's when it becomes meaningful to look more closely. Real-life example. Imagine a child who struggles to fall asleep, finds transitions very difficult, reacts emotionally very strongly, and seems constantly on the go. Each of these could be explained individually, but together they begin to form a pattern. And here's the most important part. Recognizing these patterns early is not about labeling your child. It's about understanding their brain. Because when you understand how your child's brain works, you can support it in a way that actually helps. In the next video, we'll look at something that confuses many parents: the difference between early signs of ADHD and autism, because from the outside, they can sometimes look very similar. And if this video helped you, feel free to share it with someone who might need a little more clarity too.